Simply put, a piecewise defined function is a function that's defined in pieces. So what do I mean? Well, let's graph a really simple function, y equals x plus 2. So there we go. There's the function y equals x plus 2. It has a slope of 1, it crosses the y-axis right here at a y equals 2. But let's say I was only interested in graphing that function when x is greater than or equal to 0. So where on that function, of all the points, here are all the points on the graph, and I almost can write on it, all the points on this line, which ones have an x value greater than or equal to 0? Those are going to be all of the values starting here and going up, because all of the x values for those points are greater than or equal to 0. So if I'm only interested in those points, I want to get rid of all of the other ones. So I'm going to delete everything and just leave that part. So what have I graphed there? I've graphed y equals x plus 2 only for x greater than or equal to 0. All of the x values of these points are greater than or equal to 0. So let's say I wanted to graph a second function, y equals negative 2x minus 1. There it is, y equals negative 2x minus 1. It has a slope of negative 2, it crosses the y-axis at negative 1. And let's say I wanted just the x values that are less than 0. Those values on that function are going to be starting here and extending this way. All of the points where it's yellow have x values less than 0. There'll also be an open dot here because we do not want to include that point. So if we only want that point, we want to delete. If we only want the points that are yellow, we want to delete everything else. So we'll delete everything else. And here we go. There they go. All those points are gone right there. And this one's gone as well. We don't want that one there. It's an open dot there. And it's actually a closed dot there. So take a look at this. We've actually drawn two functions, and we've drawn two pieces of two functions. What we're going to do is we're going to merge both of these into one piecewise function by doing this, getting rid of this and saying y is equal to either of these functions, but it's equal to the top one. It's equal to x plus 2 when x is greater than or equal to 0, and the function is equal to 2x minus 1 when x is less than or equal to 0. So this function is now defined in pieces. It's equal to x plus 2 when x is greater than 0, and it's equal to 2x minus 1 when x is less than 1. Let's say I had a new piecewise function. Here's one piecewise function, and let's say we wanted to make the graph. What we're going to do is graph each function and then only keep the parts that correspond to their domains. These are the domains of each of the functions right here, domains. So let's graph these. Let's graph the first function right here. So I've graphed the first function, y equals negative x plus 4, but I only want it when x is less than or equal to 1. So x is equal to 1 right here. So we go up to this point. We only want the points that have the points on this line that have an x value less than or equal to 1. So it's right there. So we want to get rid of everything else. So we get rid of everything else. And you notice it's a closed dot because it can still equal 1 there. You can get all the way to 1. So now let's graph the second function. So here's our second function, y equals 3x minus 3, right there. We only want it when x is greater than 1. So we know x is 1 right here, so we want all of the points to the right of that line because these are the x values that are greater than 1. So we want the parts of this line that are greater than 1. So to the right of right here, keep in mind that that's x equals 1. So if we only want to keep those points, we want to get rid of everything else. So let's get rid of everything else. And since it's strictly less than 1, oop, I undid a little too much there. Let's put that back. So actually, that was perfect. So we get rid of it all like this. And now it's an open dot right there because it's greater than 1. It can't touch 1 right there. Can't touch 1 right there. So there you go. There's the graph of that system right there. So to summarize, a piecewise function is simply a